Good evening, everyone. If I step on the stage, it'll get your attention. That doesn't mean we're starting yet. That doesn't mean we're starting yet. Um, I said that we were going to start as I look at my not watch. I said we were going to start at 5:30, so let's go 5:40. The vibe that I'm always going for this event is that it's a giant family gathering. So I'm loving the fact that we're getting together, we're chatting, we're moving around, you guys are taking photos. So yeah, we'll aim to start in 10, maybe 15 minutes. We'll get started real soon. Thank you all for being here. Good evening again. Mr. Good, this podium is very sparkly. I like it, thank you. If everybody could find their way to seats, that would be fantastic. It is lovely to see everyone tonight. Hi, I'm Mr. Phelps. I'm the IB Diploma Program Coordinator here at Bonita Vista High School, and I'm excited to invite you to the happiest night of the year, as far as I'm concerned. We teachers all really enjoy the work that we do. We love working with your kids. We love working with your family members. Students, we love working with you. And this is a night that we look forward to every year. I put out this Google form where I ask the teachers to sort of like jump in and select their students. Sorry, I'm tired, but I'm excited. I was telling a story. Oh, that's right. Teachers jump in, they grab students, we're all excited about who we're gonna talk about, and we're all like, yeah, we're gonna be there. And then we get to the event, and it's like, we'll have several teachers that aren't there, and we're like, oh, bummer, so we'll have to read for one another. And tonight, there was only one of our staff members that wasn't able to make it here tonight. And so I'm super excited. Like, I feel like this is the most, well-attended, this is the most, I don't know, even before we've gotten started, I'm excited about this evening, and I'm excited to share the night with you. On the invitation that I sent out, it said that we were going to start at 5:30 and end at 8, and now we're starting at 5:45. I want to reassure you all that doesn't mean we're ending at 8:15. That was just me kind of putting an end-ish time out there. It's hard to tell how long the ceremony runs because we don't know how far back students are sitting. We're not sure how long everybody's going to talk for. Mr. Rivera sometimes gets up and does a dance, and so it's hard to... Oh, no, we can't spoil that surprise. It's a little hard to tell exactly when the evening's going to end, but my aim was to have it end somewhere in that 7-ish hour because the lighting is really lovely outside, and our quad just today reopened. And in my mind, especially as we've moved to having 2 graduation ceremonies, part of the purpose of this evening is giving all of the IB graduates an opportunity to be together, sort of get some photos, to do all of those like wonderful family/found family, school family things together. So I guess I wanted to reassure everyone, just because we're starting a little late doesn't mean that we're going to end a little late, and I hope that we all have a really lovely time together. Well, thank you. I wasn't sure if I'd get applause for that one, but yeah, cool, thank you so much. I do like to introduce our staff, and normally I write everybody's names down so that I don't forget anybody, because it's nerve-wracking when you're up here. But I'm going to do my best. And I organize them the way that the IB organizes them. In order to be an IB diploma candidate, students have to take exams or tests, assessments in 6 different subject areas. The first of those subject areas is the language and literature area, where we predominantly study English literature and English language. And so those teachers would be Mr. Good and Mr. Chan. Mr. Helly and Ms. Monfredo are also part of that department, but they're not here this evening, but we're thankful for them as well. The second group is the languages group, and so those would be the Spanish and the French and the Italian. And so that would be Mr. Patrick Beaulieu, Mr. Rob Pierazzini, nice, and Ms. Ana Lu Flores, our Spanish teacher, wasn't able to make it tonight. She was actually really hoping she could make it tonight, but she's got a really little one, and so the timing just didn't work out this year. The third group in the IB is the individual societies, which we here in America tend to call social studies. So in the social studies group, I know that this evening we have Mr. Jose Vallejo and Ms. Candace DeVore. Also in that subject area, we have Mr. Tesada and Ms. Takaki, who were not able to join us this evening. then there's this weird middle ground. So group 3 is the social studies group, and then group 4 is the science group. But then IB was like, hey, why don't we have some of these like mix-over groups? So there's this weird kind of crunchy hippie one right? Environmental Systems and Societies is a class taken by a lot of our students, often in the junior year, and it's half science and it's half social science, and we have both Ms. Jennifer Eckstein and Mr. Joe Sakovitz here representing that one. So if those ones are sort of like the semi-nerd hippies, we move into like the full nerd group, which would be the science group, which is Mr. Jeff Rivera, representing screaming, representing chemistry. This year, I mean, I guess I put myself in that group too. I taught computer science this year, so like, yay, we can clap for me too. Thank you so much. After the fourth group, the science group, we move on to the best group of all, the math group. Yeah. I do appreciate that nobody clapped for that one, and that's okay, we know. Oh, now it's just pity clapping. It's pity, but thank you so much. So we have Ms. Cristina Hernandez here. Mr. Angel Prado was with us at the beginning of the year, and he's back to celebrate with us tonight, and then I teach math as well. The sixth group in the IB is the arts group. Yeah, right? The sixth group is the arts. So at the school, we offer theater and dance and film as our IB subject areas. So we have Ms. Christine Timmons, our dance director. And Mr. Hugo Martinez, who does our IB film, as well as all of the like BVX digital media stuff. He is in the process right now of actually recording this thing, which is exciting because he's up here, but he's like digitally back there because there's a camera and stuff. So we're excited that he's here with us tonight. Did I miss any of our? What? Yeah, I mentioned you under history, right? Okay, so in the social science group, so I guess I did this to Ms. DeVore last year also. Did I not say Ms. Candace DeVore? If we could all give a big round of applause to Ms. DeVore. Thank you so much. And I legitimately thank you because I'm not trying to make enemies here tonight, though it may look like it. Yeah. I did want to take a few minutes briefly, just to make sure that everybody in the room knows what we're talking about when we talk about IB. On the one hand, your kids have been going through this marvelous, wonderful process that's really just like roses and flowers, and roses because of the thorns. The IB program is a challenging course of education. You know, your kids have been through a lot in this. And I'm sure that you've heard some of it, but some of what you might have heard might have been through some amount of filter. So I'll give you my version of it as well. So I mentioned that students that are candidates for the IB diploma come up with a plan where they study 6 different subject areas. So they've definitely got an English class, they've got a language class, a social science class, a science class, a math class. The arts class is optional. Students can do a second language or a second science or something instead, but the vast majority of our students do choose to study an art as part of their IB education as well. In addition to that, students take a course in the theory of knowledge, where they get into really deep questions about bias and certainty and truth and how we know what we know and what the limits of that knowledge are. Students also do a CAS program, so they take steps to being creative people, physically active people, and people that do community service, like service in their community and sort of address need. Finally, students write an extended essay. Students write a research paper of up to 4,000 words in an academic subject of their interest. I feel like in most high school programs, when students write a long paper, it's a history paper or it's an English paper. And I don't mean to throw any shade at those subjects at all. Like, those are challenging things to do. I love, though, that the IB says, yeah, we also want students to be writing in science. We want them writing in math. We want them writing in dance and in film. We want students being able to do academic research in the subject areas that are of interest to them. I did it. And so, as we are here tonight celebrating these 44 IB diploma candidates, every one of those 44 has done all of those things. Over the last 2 years, they have done these 6 classes with these 6 tests. They've written that research paper. They've done the theory of knowledge. They did CAS. They have survived, and they have thrived in that space. And so I do want to take a moment to give them a round of applause, just as we begin the evening. But everything I've said so far has been very, very heavily academic. It's been very much like test, 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 college, 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 like do the thing, do the thing, do the thing. And I think that one of the things that makes me excited about IB, the thing that gets me out of bed every morning, is the IB learner profile. And the students have heard me talk about this all the time, but I want to make sure that the parents and the family members know this as well. The International Baccalaureate Program identifies 10 attributes that they want all students to aspire toward. So the idea is that in addition to doing these heavy academic lifts, all these things they're doing to get ready for college, we're also saying, hey, we'd like you guys to be balanced. We'd like you to be caring. We'd like you to be communicators. We want you to be inquisitive and knowledgeable. We encourage the students to be open-minded, to be principled, reflective, risk takers, which is a complicated one, but risk takers, and thinkers. Because the idea is that in the IB program, we're not trying just to prepare students for college. We want to be a part of equipping students to go into the world and to make a difference in the world. Our world is a complicated and difficult and fractured place right now. And I believe that tying ourselves to the learner profile, tying ourselves to this holistic education is the thing that our students need to move into the world and be ready to make the best difference that they can. And so I get excited about our program because I know that students are not only signing up for all of this academic work, but are also saying like, and I also want to be more, and I also want to keep growing as much as I possibly can. And so I want to take a moment to thank every one of the 44 diploma candidates in the room for making that commitment 2 years ago to this program, to following through on that, to making this commitment to yourself. So thank you guys, and I'm going to applaud for you again. With those introductory remarks out of the way, I want to get to sort of like the tofu and potatoes of the rest of our presentation here. Look, it could be meat and potatoes, but like I'm vegetarian at least. Mr. Rivera was upset. Tofu's really good. Anyway, the next thing that happens in our evening is different teachers will be speaking about students one at a time and taking a moment to honor them. And so I'm actually going to start off by reading 2 statements from Ms. Takaki. Ms. Takaki is one of our social science teachers. I think she was the teacher that I replaced Ms. DeVore with at the beginning. I want to own up to that one again. So I'm going to read statements from Ms. Takaki for 2 of her students and call those students up, and we'll get the evening started. You know, I do have to say Dr. Salazar, our principal, also just walked in, and if there's any good time for me to introduce one more person, it would be right now. So Dr. Salazar, thank you very much for being here. So I'm now doing my best to embody Ms. Takaki. I don't know how well I'll do that. I don't know her mannerisms particularly well, but I'll do my best here. So as Ms. Takaki, it's been a pleasure having Carlos Valenzuela Rojo, both as a 10th grade world history student, and again this year as a senior in History of the Americas. Having him twice during his high school career gave me a front row seat to his growth as a student. Carlos was already a good student in 10th grade, but by 12th grade he had become even more focused, disciplined, and intentional about his academic success. As a teacher, I'm always grateful to witness and be part of that kind of growth. In both occasions, I witnessed his hard work, dedication, and commitment to academic success. Carlos is quiet and humble, yet his work ethic consistently speaks for itself. He understands that success comes from staying organized, studying consistently, and putting in consistent effort over time. It has been rewarding to watch him mature academically and prepare himself for the future. I'm excited to see him continue his journey at San Diego State University studying computer science, and I have no doubt he will continue to grow and succeed in the next chapter of his life. Best of luck, Mrs. Takaki. Come on up, Carlos. Okay, so are there any questions about the way that the structured student interaction is going to work? Yeah, absolutely. I can do one more. Is it okay if I pretend to be Ms. Takaki one more time? Sounds good. Fantastic. Again, as Ms. Takaki, it's been a pleasure meeting and teaching Areli Rojas this year in the History of the Americas. Areli is kind, thoughtful, and deeply dedicated to her schoolwork. Although quiet in nature, she is truly a friend to all and carries herself with a calm and respectful presence that positively impacts those around her. I'm confident that Areli will accomplish her goals because I've witnessed firsthand the time, effort, and dedication she puts into being successful. She understands something very important. She understands something very important at a young age. Success is forged through hard work, consistency, and commitment. Those qualities will serve her well as she begins her journey at Mount St. Mary's University, Los Angeles, majoring in biology. What excites me most about Areli's future is not only her ambition to apply to medical school and eventually work internationally through missions and organizations such as Doctors Without Borders, but also the compassion and humanity she brings to those goals. I have no doubt she will make a meaningful difference in the lives of others as she pursues her dream of becoming a travel doctor. One last note. I sincerely hope that before college begins and summer comes to an end, Areli gives herself the well-deserved break she has earned and finally accomplishes one of her personal goals, binge-watching all of the Marvel movies. Best wishes always, Ms. Takaki. Come on up, Areli. Mr. Rivera, was that enough of them with me as Ms. Takaki? Can I shift into Phelps form? Yes. Okay. Are we done? No. So I'm going to be speaking about several students tonight. I'm going to speak about 2 of them now, and then several of them, like right at the end of the evening. So I didn't get the time to print my notes out, so. It's always kind of a toss-up whether we're going to like hold on to the name of the student until later or not, but I feel bad not saying the name because then you're like, am I supposed to be recording right now or not? So I'll just tell you right now, Sebastian Bello is who I'm going to talk about. So, dude, Sebastian, you get applause just for saying your name. That's amazing. Okay, cool. So for Sebastian, you may or may not know, all of you, that I have 3 children. Ezra's 4 and is running around the house at home right now. Izzy's 13 and probably running around taking pictures. Okay, sitting there taking pictures. And Enoch is probably not running around right now. Oh, he's in the back waving big with pink hair. Awesome, right on. When Enoch was younger, my wife and I trained him to say, can I tell you a random thing before launching into whatever random fact he had to share. it really helped us to maintain our sanity by preparing us for whatever random fact was going to come out of his mouth next. And like letting us know that was going to be out of left field. So how does this connect to Sebastian? Sebastian, you came really close this year to needing me to put a random thing filter on you. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's a really good thing. I appreciated every time you brought up some random computer science fact or asked me what I thought about some insert fringe idea about computer science here. For the record, Sebastian, I do indeed subscribe to at least some level of dead internet theory, and that worries me. Like keeps me up at night. One more thing about Sebastian. It really caught me off guard when I read the senior standout that you wrote for yourself, and that senior standout was most likely to verbally abuse my classmates. Sebastian, I found you to be incredibly caring. At grad night this year, I got several texts from Sebastian asking questions, asking for help with things. He like lost his wristband, but every one of those mini conversations ended with him asking if I was having a good time, asking if I was doing well. When we were setting up for the evening tonight, Sebastian was here like the entire time, just like, hey, what can I help with? What can I do next for you? So I don't know what this verbal abuse thing's coming from. You know, Sebastian, it's really been a pleasure being your teacher in computer science this year, and getting to do this IB journey with you. So please come on up, get your hood. So then I just have one more student that I'm going to talk about briefly before I hand the mic over to Mr. Vallejo. There's Dana. Hi, Dana. I'm so glad that you lived in that Jinx hoodie junior year, Dana. It gave me the opportunity to reach out to you and to let you know that I'd been watching Arcane also with Enoch and Isley, and that Isley just loved Jinx's character. A little did I know that that conversation would turn into Isley acquiring you as an older sister and as a role model. Honestly, Dana, I don't know how you live as fully as you do. You flit from dancing practice to boxing workouts. You bounce from keeping up with your academic work to caring deeply about your friends and family. You balance relationships with your students at Nisha's dance in the dance studio, and then your relationship with Silas, a fictional crime lord vampire dragon. And you bounce between all of those things with poise and grace. Clearly things that you learned and honed from all of those years as a dancer. I'm so excited to see where life takes you. I'm inspired by your love of literature and your dedication to dance. Dana, I hope very much that you'll keep in touch, if not just for my sake, for Isley's. The only bright side to you forgetting about us is that I would have reason to unironically break out this quote attributed to Raphael, which is that it's been 800 years. Jellyfishes are walking around naked, sea turtles climb trees, sharks are eating grass for free, and finally, you remembered us. Come on up and get your hood, Dana. And with that, I'd like to invite up Mr. Vallejo. Come on up. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here. And let me start off with a little bit of an introduction. For those of you that don't know, like Mr. Phelps said earlier, I'm Mr. Vallejo. I have the pleasure of teaching IB history here for our seniors. I would like to point out that everything I say tonight comes from a place of love. Okay? So anything that says, please, that I say, please don't misread into it. Don't think anything else except that Mr. B has a kind heart. And that's where it's coming from. Because I care about my kids. I care about your kids. I care about our students. Okay? If it's okay with you all, I would like to take a minute to address the entire IB group, though. Is that okay with you all? Yeah? I mean, it's your time. You can be like, no, don't. Just talk about your two kids, Mr. B. Yeah? Cool? Everybody? Yeah? Thumbs up? All right. Let me read this short quote. It's addressed to the youth. The world is yours, as well as ours. But in the last analysis, it is more yours. You young people, full of vigor and vitality, are in the bloom of life. Just like the sun is at 8 o'clock in the morning, our hope is placed on you. The world belongs to you. The future belongs to you. Isn't that a nice quote? These words were written by a prolific 20th century Chinese philosopher. If you were in my class, you know who I just quoted, so be careful with those quotes. Congratulations, IB diploma candidates, class of 2026. On to the students that I will be presenting today, which is the whole reason why I'm here right now and not at a Padres game tonight, getting a free Aloha Padres Hawaiian shirt that they are giving away today. It's okay. I promise I will not hold any resentment towards any of my students that I talk about today. When Mr. Phelps mentioned, hey, you guys, teachers, anybody, are you guys interested in talking about any of our students? I said, oh, yeah, of course. I would love to talk about so many of our kids. I can talk about a lot of our students. We have great kids, you guys. But I had to narrow it down to two of them, right? So I could talk about my kids from zero period. I could talk about the kids that were there on time all the time. I could talk about some of the students that showed up on time sometimes. And I could talk about the kids that never showed up on time, but that were there eventually, right? I could count on them showing up eventually. Yeah, we're not asking for volunteers in the back. Don't raise your hand. But you know what? Eventually I narrowed it down to two, okay? My short list of things that I have to say. By the way, you guys, it comes from love, okay? Remember. So instead, I've decided to have a positive conversation and talk about these two students, okay? I will keep it positive. I will not talk about how this one student enjoys talking about an HBO show by the name of Euphoria. I'm not going to talk about that. I will not mention how this one kid is also obsessed with Gilmore Girls. I will not spend time talking about how she likes to blurt out every now and then during class time, who's Karl Marx? Nope. I promise you guys, I will not talk about those things. Instead, I'm going to talk about how responsible and punctual she really is. For example, she was there every single morning around 7 a.m. for zero period, even though that class doesn't start till 7:30. I was there early, she was there early. Every morning. Like every morning. It was during this time, however, that I got a chance to know more about this one student, how amazing this kid is. Lisa Perez, she really, really is an amazing kid. For example, on several occasions before the start of class, it seemed to me that Lisa felt like the responsibility to pass on knowledge about things like Formula One car racing, which she also happens to love, right? Which is great, you guys. These are well-rounded kids. They know a lot of things. They like to share, and I would never discourage my kids, my students, from sharing what they know, what they're about, okay? So I would, all kidding aside, your curiosity and knowledge of academic topics, from drama to literature, from junk TV shows, again, Formula One. This kid is bright, dedicated, open-minded, and she actually has a really cool sense of humor. I would also like to know, I would like for you guys to know that I'm always going to remember Lisa because she has undoubtedly kept a positive vibe throughout the entire year, and that is greatly appreciated so early in the morning. Lisa, I'm going to miss you. Getting to work at 7 in the morning from now on is not going to be the same without you waiting for me to open the classroom door. You'll be missed greatly, kid. Congratulations. Please come and pick up your stole or hood. Okay, the second student I'll talk about here in a minute. Thank you all for bearing with me, okay? It's not my jam, public speaking, not my thing, which is ironic, right, for a high school teacher, but I am a risk taker. And that's one of the things that I want my students to get out of this, okay? My other student that I would like to spend some good quality time talking about this evening is a student that I have had the pleasure of having as my student on 2 separate occasions. First, as a sophomore in AP World History, where I can honestly say that's where he first fell in love with history. I know it. He won't admit it, but I know that's where it happened. All those outlines, and quizzes, and that kind of stuff. Now he's in my 4th period history class, where I know he's obsessed with history, so much so that he made it the focus of his IB exhibit. It is because of all the love that he has shown for history that my focus will also be on nothing but good things about this young man, okay? I will definitely not spend time talking about one of the earliest memories that I have about this kid when he was a sophomore, and him and a bunch of other classmates signed a petition so that I would cancel chapter outlines. That petition failed. Also, I will not spend time talking about how much he enjoyed having side conversation in my class during 4th period with other kids like Max, Noah, and Mason. If I remember correctly, they spend most of their time talking about things like, I still to this day don't know. Skibbity toilet? What is that, you guys? I also don't think that I will even mention how he was so set on taking his prom date to In-N-Out Burgers for dinner. I talked him out of that. For sure, I will not bring up the preoccupation that he has with ChatGPT sometimes. And by no means I will ever bring up how he got 4th period class all riled up and overly excited about having a potluck for a final. You know, the fact that he almost broke my roll down map that I've had in perfect operation since 2004, but he almost broke it. By the way, that was all just today. It just happened this afternoon. Instead, let me focus on all the great things that make Gio Delone such an amazing kid with great leadership qualities, with the right balance of chill attitude, and the student with the lowest cortisol around campus. Oh, and of course, he's the person with the second most aura here tonight. Because aura, all right, Gio, come on up. I now pass this thing on to Monsieur Beaulieu.
few pages here. Don't worry, it's not long. Just the writing's really big. Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs. I'm Monsieur Beaulieu, and I'm the French teacher here at Benita Vista High School. It's my pleasure to accompany you tonight to gush over my students and the IB program. What your student has done tonight is extraordinary. When so many students choose to do what is easy, your students have committed to completing this remarkable and rigorous 2-year program. As Thomas Edison said, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Success comes with hard work, and your students have done the work with help from our passionate and committed IB teachers. The IB program is recognized the world over. You're part of a small international group. Students from over 160 countries and more than 1,200 schools have committed themselves to this renowned program. I can't stress how proud I am of you all. You deserve a celebration. The first student whom I would like to present puts the pro in procrastination. On the other hand, this individual was extremely punctual. I enjoyed our short conversations as other students arrived to class. We talked about French culture and history or linguistics. One reason this person undertook the IB program was to be with friends and other ambitious students. The IB curriculum taught this person to think differently, think outside the box. They valued the contributions of their fellow students as well. In the future, this individual looks forward to furthering their education. They wish to be self-sufficient and independent. They are looking forward to meeting the challenges of the future. They wish to make their parents proud. I have no doubt that this individual has achieved that. This person is fascinated by math and how science enables objects to fly. This person will be taking off to UCSD, my alma mater, and studying aerospace engineering. His name is Chase. Go Tritons. The next individual whom I would like to introduce has been my student for 3 years. He was looking to learn something new and different, so he took French. When so many other students quit the IB diploma, this student just kept going forward. This person loves learning in general and will be very successful in the future. They have the tenacity and positive attitude to be successful in any field. This person is glad that he challenged himself by committing to the IB program these past 2 years, 3 years, well, 2 years for the IB, and he was part of our football team. He proved to himself that he could do a sport in the IB workload, and he did. He enjoyed meeting new friends through the IB program, and he appreciated learning about new perspectives brought to class by different people. After high school, he wishes to pursue a career in one of the trades. He is bringing his curiosity to learning with him, in part thanks to the IB program. His name is Diego. My last student, whom I will present, is very special. Probably have never seen so much growth in two-year period as I've seen in this student. When this student first came into French, they were very shy, scared to make a mistake. Now they are the first in the class to raise their hand and answer a question. They participate in conversations and love working with other French students. They help their partners understand French grammar and vocabulary. I'm so proud of this individual's growth. Like other IB students, this particular individual appreciated the rigor of the program and their devoted teachers. They enjoyed being around people in the IB community who were serious about school and interested in learning. This particular student came to our school last year on our France-Italy trip. I'm sure that Mr. Pierazzini will remember the student. The student went from shy introvert to confident world traveler and French speaker. I vividly remember the last day when we were waiting in the bus to go to the airport. Just before driving away, we noticed an empty seat. Yes, it was this particular student still sleeping. Supposedly, I was told that the phone ran out of battery. I'm sure they will never forget that day. This individual would be studying a degree in mathematics at the University of Maine. I'm sure that her French will come in handy there. Her name is Matilda. Our next presenter is Mr. Jan, English teacher.
Hi everyone, my name is Mr. Chan and I'm one of the IB English teachers. Teachers get a lot of credit for teaching these students. We've gotten a lot of praise from our fellow teachers and students all the time. But we can't forget that students also teach their teachers. Every year I learn something new or I'm reminded of something from the past, and I'm really grateful for them for being able to do that. This group of academics, these students are driven and they're really fun, and every single day that I come into my classroom, I know that I'm going to have a lot of fun. They show up every day and they're happy to interact with me and their peers. So I'd like to extend my gratitude to this class for reminding me of this and being such a fun and curious group. They really remind me why I love teaching and why I do what I do. And I think I speak for the other teachers when I say that. I learned a lot and I appreciate you all, and I'll miss you all. With that, I'd also like to thank everyone else for being here and being so incredibly supportive. We know that the IB diploma program is very challenging. It takes a lot of time. But they're the 44 students of our school of more than 2,000 students that elect to do this every year. So I think they're really special for doing that. And to the students, just by being here, you should remind yourself that you made it this far. You have a lot that you're capable of, and I hope that you learn and you know that you're a lot more capable than you think you are. You chose to be in this community. You self-selected yourself to be a part of a difficult thing. And remember that hard work isn't scary, right? It takes you far and you can accomplish a lot with what you choose to do. Everyone here is really proud of you, so congratulations. So I'm gonna do the thing where I don't reveal who my student is and kind of guess. So for this student, I had the pleasure of being her IB English teacher during her junior year, but also her EE advisor. I'm also honored to have been able to be a part of her college application process. That's also very stressful, and everyone here went through that as well. Through this time, I've gotten to know her quite well, and she's incredibly thoughtful about and kind and sensitive to the world and her communities. And I really don't think that many people know that about her, or just about each student individually, how much they actually do. And I learned that she started a fundraiser for Border Angels, and she helped establish stronger relationships and lines of communication in her community groups, Nico and Sons and Daughters of Italy. And I think that's super cool, and I think that, again, these students do a lot beyond just schoolwork. Not only this, but she always would make it a point to just stop by and say hi or to check in, always offer a smile. And she's such a good example of what it means to be an IB student and the IB learner profile traits. So Sophia, come on up here. All right, so I think this student will know who I'm talking about pretty quickly. So I had the pleasure of being this student's English teacher for 2 years and also her EE advisor. I first met the student last year in my IB English class. She's also in my class this year for 12th grade. And one of my favorite memories is when the bell would ring for the class to start, and she would always, with her friends, greet the class in the same way and would say, "Good morning, Barons." In the same exact way that BBX and ASB officers would greet the school. Honestly, every time that she did that, it made me laugh. But this year, she's part of an earlier period, so that doesn't happen. But I miss that. And it would really set a positive mood just for the day, every single day that I had her. Within the class, she's really courageous. She's willing to pose questions for clarity when her peers are afraid to. And as a teacher, I think we know that when students have questions and they're just afraid to ask, but because she's willing to ask, her peers are also encouraged to ask those questions as well. And honestly, this makes me a better teacher because I realize some of my shortcomings and where I need to add clarity or where I need to be more directive. So I'm really grateful for that. She establishes a better learning environment and helps her peers to be better learners and for me to be a better teacher. Her extended essay was also a really enjoyable process. She did an album study for Tyler, the Creator, which was really cool to read and be a part of. She would ask me questions all the time about different songs, and I thought it was a really good time. So I really enjoyed all of my conversations with her, and in the style of this student, congratulations, Barons. Payne, come on up here. Okay, I'd like to introduce Ms. DeVore.
In case you missed all the earlier introductions, my name is Candice DeVore, and I teach your students IB history in grade 11. So I'm year 1 of their IB history strand. This evening, it is my distinct pleasure and great honor to be able to speak about 2 students. I, as a parent, always appreciate when people tell me when they're talking about my child so I can turn on my camera on my phone. And so that is what I'm going to do tonight. The first student that I get to talk about is Nia Reda. In the land of extended essay, Nia is a rare denizen. I have had many EE students in history through the years, and Nia stands out because of one very special and highly sought after trait. She would set deadlines and hold herself to the deadline that she had set. The strength of character and focus that that takes cannot be underestimated. And I think it gives a unique insight to who Nia is. She is a person of integrity who is goal-oriented and isn't afraid of hard work. Nia wasn't perfect. Alas, senior year tests us all. Nevertheless, Nia persevered and, dare I say, slayed. Lest this make you think that Nia must not be fun or funny or entertaining, I'm here to tell you how wrong you are. And I know I'm in a room where we all take correction extremely well and very humbly, but Nia has the most brilliant smile that just invites you into conversation, and she has some very witty takes on life. It was really delightful to hear you share about your fun times as a person. More so than the history, I enjoyed getting to know you as a person. You were someone I was never unhappy to see at lunch. It has been a great pleasure to be a part of your IB journey here at Bonita Vista High. Please come up and receive your hood. My second student, and again, it is my distinct pleasure and great honor to be able to speak about Christabel Groton, or Lily, she's better known. Lily was also another, yes, go ahead and clap for her. Lily was also another person I was never unhappy to see at lunch, but it was also probably because she came in with Nia usually. I don't want to minimize the academic accomplishments Lily has achieved. Certainly undertaking the rigorous IB program is noteworthy. And I will get back to her academics in a few seconds. But when I think of Lily, I think of another word, and that word is protein. In the last 2 years, I have learned so much about how to incorporate protein into my everyday life. So I think this is really about how much Lily has taught me instead of what we or I have taught Lily. I suppose the second word that comes to mind after protein is cottage cheese. But I will let Lily share her unique recipe involving cottage cheese and beef another day. What I have come to observe about Lily is that when something excites her or captures her attention, she will maintain a laser focus and will recall it forever. If Lily told me that something was interesting in class or made her think, I knew it was a keeper. Because when Lily dives into a topic, she lives in it, looking at it with wonder and sincere curiosity. She puts her energy towards that which she cares deeply about, and I think that is a very unique and special trait. Lily, it was a pleasure to have been a part of your IB journey. Please come up and receive your hood. And now it's my great honor to introduce Ms. Eckstein, who will be presenting our next student. Thank you.
Okay, and Lily also got me to do deadlifts now. Protein deadlifts. Okay, I did deadlifts yesterday. I'm sore. Still. So it's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have your students. Last year was my last year teaching IBESS. I'm moving on to greener pastures and getting those ninth graders, kind of flourishing those ninth graders into the IB program. So that'll be my focus for the next year. What an amazing 2026 class. It's been an honor, like I said. So the first two individuals I'm going to talk about are in my green team. The first one is Ava Luna. And yay, Ava! So as you well know, as Mr. Phelps says, IBESS is like this crunchy granola science. We're kind of social science, and we're kind of science, but man, we are all about sustainability and advocacy, and man, these two individuals were amazing that I'm going to talk about. So Ava, from the beginning, you always carried this calm but powerful presence that made people stop and listen. She's also a green team, of course, officer. And you really embody this book called A Fierce Green Fire because you just don't understand environmental and global issues. You actually do something about them. And that's what really made you a really important part of our green team this year and, of course, the IBESS class last year. What I admire most about you is your perspective. You think beyond yourself and always considered the bigger picture. And when I read your IA, it was amazing because you talked about access to clean drinking water and child mortality, and you reflected really deeply on that. And you took this global issue and you analyzed it in a way that was very thoughtful and compassionate and very incredibly mature. And you understood that behind every statistic, correlation, Pearson's, are real people and real lives, and that makes a difference because that makes you empathetic. And combine that with scientific thinking, it's powerful, and it's exactly the kind of mindset that we need more in the world today, is empathy and compassion. So I'm really gonna miss your advocacy and your ability to stay grounded while still pushing for change. And whether you're working on your ESS projects, your Sustainability Wife for SF, our Green Team initiatives, our awareness campaigns, vote, or just trying to navigate stressful moments together, you always brought intelligence and kindness and purpose to our space here at Bonita. You have this very quiet determination to be quiet in class, and that just makes people trust you and believe in what you're saying. And honestly, during uncertain times like there are today, your ability to keep showing up, continuing the work mattered more than you probably realized, especially to our school. And you helped create a community where people felt heard, supported, and motivated, and of course, care about the world around them. So I'm so proud of you, incredibly proud of you. You're gonna soar at San Diego State, my alma mater, and I know you're gonna continue doing amazing things and make a difference wherever life takes you. And please remember that your impact here was always real and always heartfelt. And the conversations that we had, the awareness that you created, the compassion that you brought to our school is now our legacy here. So thank you for your leadership, your heart, your intelligence, your commitment, your kindness, and your commitment to making the world a better place. Our green team and school truly won't be the same without you. Please come get your stole. And I have like a little bag. One of my favorite books that I always shared with the kids was the Lorax. We have a Lorax in here and a sustainable bag, and sustainable utensils and everything to keep you ready for. Gotta have your reusable bag. BYOB. Bring your own bag. Sorry, that's really truly what it means in college. Okay, my second one, Isabel Acevedo. What a powerful force. Where is she? Okay. Again, green team, and And I always thought about Isabel like a little hummingbird, which is kind of my motto. You know, you may be small, but you can do great things. You somehow manage to be everywhere at once. Again, leading projects, advocating for sustainability, posting environmental content. Oh my gosh, I was always emailing her. Oh my gosh, we gotta post this for the kids. We gotta get this done. And still finding time to make thrifting look like an elite sport. We like to thrift. You brought this energy that made people want to care more, do more, and be better. And more than anything, I'm gonna also miss your leadership and your ability just to get things done. Like when it was coming to get the food, I would always text her, oh, we need to get the food, and she would come get it. And then in my IBSS class, she never treated it just like a class. You took everything also further. You did an IA on soil erosion and plant growth, and that really showed you just didn't collect data. You generally cared about what it meant and why it matters in the world. You understood how these connections in ecosystems or how environmental damage impacts life and so forth, and that makes you super special. And you really, really, really thought like an environmental scientist. I'm gonna miss collaborating on those Instagram posts, making sure those got done. Sorry for sending you messages. Oh my gosh, we gotta get this posted. You probably were asleep. But every time I had an idea, I knew you'd make it better. And whether it was green team events, our Y4SF campaigns, and ESS discussions, or advocacy on campus, you always showed up with creativity, passion, and purpose. And watching you grow into that person you are today has honestly been inspiring. You're intelligent, you're driven, compassionate, and deeply committed to making change happen. And just like Ava, you're going to my alma, San Diego State University, where you're gonna make and continue to make an impact wherever you go. So again, your legacy here is everlasting, like our garden, all the work that you've done, completely deep-rooted. Just wish those trees were native in our new, sorry, did I say that? Sorry. Native in our new quad, but that's another story. Thank you for your leadership, your friendship, your smile. She has an amazing smile. And your dedication to making this campus and this world better. The future honestly feels brighter because of people like you. Come and get your stole, Isabel. BYOB, bring your own bag. San Diego State. That's kind of, I don't know the whole story if I've ever shared my kids' story with San Diego State. So they were building this new library, now the Bubble. Yeah, I changed myself to a tree at San Diego State. So this is where they're gonna go. Oh, wait. Too much stuff? Okay. All right. This one goes way back to when she was in 7th grade. You might be saying to yourself, how did I know this child in 7th grade? Well, I will remember the first time I met her. Her brother was in my class online for COVID. And this young lady, Naya, was sneaking out behind her brother on the camera. And I was teaching the IBSS class online with Nolan, and she'd pop in the background, and she was really quiet. 7th grader. None of us really knew, of course, what was going on. You know, it was COVID. But a few years later, she showed up in my 9th grade accelerated biology class. I'm like, you're Nolan's little sister, right? She's like, yes. Okay, and that's when everything started to click in place. And I, of course, said, oh, Naya, her own person. And really, really, really just like full circle moment when you see somebody in 7th grade, now a 9th grader. And she was her own person. She was working through stress. Sometimes there were tears in my class and sometimes moments of doubt, but never actually stopped moving forward. And she just kept showing up. And that persistence is something that people don't always recognize in themselves, but it's one of her strongest traits. I also remember our Saturday school days when I would catch her dance competitions online and make everyone watch. I'm like, oh my God, Naya, Even Dana is coming up. Like we would all watch, even Peyton, we'd watch everybody's like dance competition on Saturday school. And then there comes Naya, like this beautiful, tall, statuesque dancer. And even through a screen, it was obvious that you weren't just dancing, you were performing with intention. And you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a minute, aren't her IBESS teacher, but yes. Like Naya is like this full embodiment, okay? There was discipline, there was emotion, and there was this quiet intensity that made it look almost impossible to look away. And dance wasn't just something you did, it was something you lived. And then again, I see you finally on the dance team, and that was a full circle moment. From watching, you compete online, and now, yes, witnessing your very strategic sixth period naps in between everything. And let's not forget carefully, stunningly calculated fit at homecoming and prom by Miss Shanna. I heard it all. What I admire about you most is the balance you carry, both academic and artistic, structured and expressive. You push through challenges in courses like Accelerated Biology and ESS. At the same time, you brought this creative energy, which I love, that showed up most clearly when you danced, and that combination is rare. Okay, so I don't want to butcher this, but as they say, it's Schönen Tänzerin? No? Okay. It means beautiful dancer in German. I tried. But honestly, it fits you in more ways than just appearance. It also reflects the way you move, the way you express yourself, and the way you bring your very tall energy into a room without trying. And watching you grow has been a pure pleasure, from that Zoom background as a 7th grader to now as a full-blown heading off to Kingston University, London. Tall, new, of course, unfamiliar, but exactly the kind of space we're going to keep on growing. And about that tattoo joke, it's not a joke now. I've actually seen it. She now has a turtle on her arm, which is my favorite animal in the world. And I'm going to assume that that's your way of saying I made an impact. And it still says a lot about how you connect with people and how you will remember those who've been part of your journey. So Naya, see you back there. I am so proud of you. You have come such a long way, and you've accomplished so much. And I want you to keep on dancing, keep on pushing, keep on persevering, and don't lose that mix of softness, strength, tood, and creativity that makes you you. All right, Naya, coming. It's a long, long, long. Tall, statuesque. Okay, wait. Hold on. Wait, and you have something a little different. Even though she was an IBESS, you have dancer items in here that you can hang on your wall. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. Mr. Good is good. Take this with me.
Good evening. The first student I'm going to talk about is Cielo. For better or worse, in Cielo's junior year, she had half of her classes in my classroom with newspaper, TOK, and IB English. And then this year, another 2 classes with journalism and TOK again. With that in mind, I honestly don't know where our school newspaper would be without Cielo. She's built a program that values hard work and authentic reporting for her school community. It's interesting to think about how that role she plays and has mastered quite well fits in with the rest of IB. I could go my typical route and remind everyone that TOK is life, therefore everything counts, but this one feels a little easier than that. At its heart, IB really is the learner profile. It can be difficult to see those profile traits in a purely academic class. feel free to insert a joke about balance here. But throughout newspaper, I've seen Cielo prove herself to be the embodiment of the IB learner profile. So much so that it's difficult for me to pinpoint just one trait to highlight. I'm going to go ahead and try for two and point out that Cielo is one heck of a principled communicator. When she's working with others, she doesn't just focus on sharing her own ideas, part of the communication part, but she's also listening to what they have to say. And I think that's the mark of a true IB scholar and journalist. I wish that our world had more people like her on stage, front and center. To be a little bit more focused on IB, I do have to say that I absolutely loved talking to Cielo about her extended essay, the novel Overstory by Richard Powers. She seemed to get really into the book and had a ton of awesome interpretations and ideas about it. It was really cool to be able to sit down from time to time and talk to her about a book that was pretty high up on my own list of favorites. There were multiple times in other classes other than TOK, when Cielo admitted she knew it was off task, but wanted to talk about her extended essay. And I admit, it certainly makes an English teacher happy when students' off-task work is discussing a 4,000-word research paper in literature. Cielo looked deeply into that novel and managed to observe a few things that I had missed on my own first reading of the text. Something that I think the vast majority of us, and I've heard some of us agree, is that teachers are constantly learning, and we often learn new things from our students. I've learned so much from Cielo over the past 2 years that I feel indebted to her. I know that despite the fact that Cielo, you make your work seem effortless, you often take on an inhuman amount of it. I also know that when you tackle something important, there's an intrinsic drive to do it well. And I also know that most things that are important to you have gotten to that level because they are important for society and you care deeply about making the world a better place. I wholeheartedly believe that you're going to do that. Come on up, Cielo. All right, the next student I want to talk about is Delilah. Sorry. Delilah, you are an incredibly talented writer, and I feel lucky to have been able to read your work multiple lenses and in multiple contexts, from literary analysis in English to second-order knowledge claims in TOK, and then all the way over into journalistic coverage in newspaper this year. This year, our school newspaper started working on a new set of accolades in an effort to hone and perfect our online reporting. One of those accolades required a lot of work that wasn't actually being done within the structure that we had, so our student leadership team decided to create a brand new position halfway through the year with a brand new set of responsibilities. 1 month after Delilah was given that position, she'd already earned the award for the entire staff. That kind of diligence is characteristic of Delilah's work across the board. She's persistently good at what she takes on, and it seems to me more often than not that when student work is finished quickly, it isn't up to my standards. However, that's not the case with Delilah. She has the ability to look over a task, understand what it requires, and move through it with incredible efficiency. This is true of so much of her work, including her own extended essay, one of the first that was completed this year, titled Logos and the Illusion of Domesticity, about Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique. It was an amazing paper, and Delilah, thank you for all of your hard work. The next student I'm going to talk about is Alyssa. It is really hard for me to keep some of these discussions in the realm of IB because so many of these students are involved, essentially the fabric of our school. And Alyssa is one of those kids whom I've seen do absolutely amazing work both in IB English and TOK, but also as a leader in our chaotic and demanding robotics atmosphere. That said, I also got the chance to be your extended essay advisor, and that meant that I had the good fortune of seeing multiples of your skill sets grow and improve over the past few years. One of the things that I've noticed about Alyssa's leadership style is she knows how to highlight the skills of her team members and then further prop those individuals up in a way that seemingly allows for them to reach beyond the benchmarks that they had planned to get an aim at. Not everyone can do that. It is also evident to me that Alyssa is a wildly intelligent student with a wide range of skills. I'm glad that I was able to advise her extended essay, and while I do wish we had had more conversations perhaps earlier on in the process, it was a terrific paper, and I enjoyed and was impressed by the analysis she completed. The intent of the extended essay is to find something that we have a personal investment in and pursue it academically, and I think that Alyssa really hit the nail on the head when she selected her text, and I loved the reasons she explained for selecting her novel. I hope that, Alyssa, in your future, you're able to pursue similarly motivated work. Go ahead and come on up. All right, the next student I want to talk about is Gail. There you are. All right, so in TOK, we often look at knowledge claims made by famous thinkers throughout history. And this year, I added Gail de Leon's name to my list of famous thinkers, and we studied some of their work in class. I truly enjoyed their TOK essay claim that, quote, procedural methods of instruction impose limits on creativity, which ultimately hinder learning. And as their teacher, I did try to not take that too personally. Gail, I appreciate that you don't limit yourself by those procedures around you and instead carve your own path through the expectations of our courses. I also want to comment on Gail's invention of a new art form, the sticky note portrait. It was always cool that in your junior year I'd walk by your table and these little sticky note masterpieces were spreading out from your actual classwork. The fact that other students started making them as well, in my opinion, is a testament to the quality of the idea. It got to a point where these sticky note Rembrandts and Monets would fall out of stacks of papers I was collecting because so many had been completed. It does seem like the sticky note art form has slowed down a bit this year. Not sure if you've switched formats or need to swing by Office Depot, but I'm looking forward to the day when I get to walk through a museum and see a sticky note art up with a little placard on the bottom that says, the famous Gail de Leon. Come on up, Gail. All right, next I'm going to talk about Valentina. Vale is one of the most hardworking human beings that I have ever met. But like many IB students, she is also really hard on herself. Sometimes that was hard to see these past 2 years because I happen to think so highly of her. Over these past 2 years, I've witnessed you going out of your way to help your peers, intentionally say nice things to people to cheer them up, and provide universally positive feedback at every turn. There's something truly impressive in a student who always sees the best in everyone around her, and I'm incredibly grateful that you have brought that perspective to our IB class. So I wanted to take a moment here and make it absolutely clear that you are a downright amazing student. In your extended essay, you wrote that writing is a form of activism and exploration, and that is often done in an effort to access the ineffable parts of one's self and one's reason for existence. I wish that I was thinking about literature in that way when I was your age. Wally concluded her paper by writing that Mary Wollstonecraft might no longer be here with us, but her writing and her story will forever remain in the hearts of individuals, reminding us that through patriarchy, it's essential to keep resistance. As Samantha Silva demonstrates, when society states justice and liberty for all, ask for whom? What a fitting conclusion to a monumental task for a student who always seems to be thinking about others. When I read that, I had transitioned out of my teacher reading a student's work and into an audience of the work of a real academic. I found that after reading that essay, I had learned something new. So the next time you're feeling like you're not ready for a task or you're concerned about the quality of your work, please remember that the rest of us are in awe of what you produce. Sorry, you're stuck with me for a couple more. The next student I want to talk about is Alexa. So, there is something really exciting about a student who frequently asks the question, Mr. Good, do you want to hear a joke? It's also really cool that Alexa always waits for my answer before telling the joke. I do get some time to prepare myself for the punniness, which is important because the jokes are always terrific. We are talking real winners, like try to remember some of these. I'm reading a book about anti-gravity and I can't put it down. What kind of cheese isn't yours? Nacho cheese. Why are pirates called pirates? They just are. And one about fish that I could not remember but thought was very funny. Alexa can always brighten your day. That sense of humor is made all the more fun to see when you realize just how serious of a student Alexa is. TOK students have a bit of a tendency to get off task from time to time, and some of the claims that I've heard pop up from Lisa and Peyton, where Alexa typically works, have been so far out of left field that I've stopped trying to understand the context for over a year now. I can always count on one of two things if I put some effort in. One, Alexa will get the group back on track anyways, and two, if I comment on it, Alexa will come out with some outlandish justification for why that out of left field comment was totally on task in TOK. Alexa, thank you for finding such a terrific balance between hard work and humor. All right, one more. Next student I want to talk about is Thomas Perez. Thomas Perez is an impressively calm student. He has a certain stoicism about him that is impressive, and I very much appreciate and respect in class, but it also makes him a bit of a challenge to read sometimes. In a literature class, that makes for some really interesting discussions where I've heard him analyze text covering a pretty wide range of emotions, where he always remains calm and composed. Then in TOK, I'll follow along with his thought process, which is always impressively unique and wonderfully insightful, but he keeps the same nonchalant delivery. It's a bit like, and I do really mean this as a compliment, a mix between Einstein and Eeyore. It took me nearly 2 years to be able to recognize when Thomas is excited about something, and that nonchalant delivery he typically maintains made it fun to see that the excitement does pop up from time to time. It's when Thomas turns around in his chair and starts a thought with the words, "That's actually." That's when I know I've hit upon something that he really cares about. Thomas once did ask me in class if I would say, Thomas once asked me in class what I would say if a college recruiter called me up and asked my opinion about him. Would I recommend him to the school? And of course, I rather meanly said absolutely not. But the truth is, I have nothing but tremendous respect for Thomas, and I hope you know, Thomas, in the unlikely scenario that anyone ever cold calls me looking for insight on your character, I tell them that you're one of the most thoughtful and genuine students I've ever worked with, and I've truly enjoyed having you in class. Thanks for always taking the road less traveled in TOK, even when it was substantially more difficult. And next up, we have our math teacher, Christina Hernandez.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina Hernandez and I teach two different levels of our IB math courses here at Bonita Vista High School. So a lot of the students here today I had last year and this year for math, so that makes all of this really exciting. All right. Thank you all for being here tonight and congratulations to all the diploma candidates. This is no easy feat and you all are truly so incredible and impress me every single day. I want to thank you all for letting me into your lives just a little bit in your own way, and I will miss all the memories and crazy times we shared. And when I say crazy, I'm specifically talking to my 5th period from this year. You guys know who you are. All right, the first student I'd like to talk about tonight is Teresa Castro. To the sweetest, sleepiest, most down-to-earth girl, Teresa Castro. You truly lit up my classroom each and every day when you walked in with your big smile and your happy voice. Thank you for always trying your best in my class and pretty much never complaining, or at least not as much as everyone, of your classmates in 5th period. The excitement on your face when you got a problem right or you understood the topic is the reason why I come to work every day. Thank you for sharing bits and pieces of your life with me, like the small moments of your weekends, traveling to Japan to see your family, or even the scary times when your sister was deployed recently. From the snacks to your naps and our shared love for Uniqlo clothing, I will truly miss having you in my class. I want to wish you nothing but happiness and success as you embark on your college journey playing Division I soccer at Cal State Northridge. Say hi to Alina for me, and if you have a game here in San Diego, you can count on me being in the stands. Congratulations and good luck. All right, the next student I'd like to talk about is Andres Sosa. Where's he at? To one of the only Dodger fans I can tolerate. This one goes out to one of the most balanced individuals I know. Thank you for always being one of the most respectful students in the classroom. You are quickly developing into a young man with tremendous leadership skills, someone who should be looked up to. Andres, you are so caring of your friends, so positive, so happy, and so respectful, no matter what anyone says to you. Thank you for being the only one to hear me and listen to me when I said stop to whatever it was you, Jorge, Teresa, Max, and Gio were doing in the back of the classroom. You're a team player, and you most certainly do not back down from a challenge. You understand the hardships that come with being successful, but you also know how to balance that out with just being a teenager. My hope is that you carry the same balance and level of respect into the coming years. If you do so, you will be nothing short of successful at San Diego State next year and beyond. In the words of the one and only Drake, I just hope they miss me a little when I'm gone. Andres, we will miss you. Congratulations. All right, everyone, thank you. I'd like to introduce you all to Mr. Martinez.
Good evening. My name is Hugo Martinez. I'm the multimedia teacher for Bonita Vista High School. And tonight, I'm very honored to be here. I feel that I honor because I owe this community so much. Two of my 4 kids graduated as Ivy students, and I'm very grateful for this community. Tonight, I'm going to honor 2 students. The first one is Emiliano Moreno Fierro. So, Emmy, there's a video sitting somewhere in my files, a Captain American Civil War style edit that a younger Emiliano made in Intro Multimedia. And I want you to know it was good, but more importantly, I want Emmy to know how far that edit is from where he stands tonight. Because the Emmy who sat in that first class partnered with his friend Max, learning the fundamentals, figuring out what it even meant to make something, had no idea what he was capable of. And honestly, that's part of what makes his story so worth telling. Through BVX, he found his footing, real production, real deadlines, real audiences, and then he made the choice that not every student makes. He said yes to more virtual production honors in the most challenging class, IB Film HL. Simultaneously, that's not a small ask. Unreal Engine alone humbles. Unreal Engine is a software that alone and humbles any professional in our industry. The IB Film curriculum challenges students who have been studying cinema their whole lives. Emmy walked into both, and he walked through both. What I'm most proud of isn't the technical growth through that is undeniable, is that Emmy learned to manage himself, his time, his vision, his creative process with the discipline of someone who understands that great work doesn't happen by accident. Emiliano Moreno Fierro, you are a filmmaker, not someday, but right now. Come and get your hood. Congratulations. All right. So the second student is Maximiliano Nava, Max. So I'm going to say something that Max might not love to me saying tonight in public, but I'm going to say it anyways. When he first walked into my classroom, he was nervous, like I am tonight. Like, he was really nervous. The software that we use to teach our kids is literally the software that they use in our industry. It's Adobe software. It was very challenging. It was completely new to him. Production was completely new to him. The whole world of the multimedia felt like a language that hadn't yet learned to speak, that he hadn't learned yet to speak. I say that not to embarrass him. I say it because that is the Max that I need you to picture so that you can fully appreciate the Max who stands before you tonight. Because Max didn't just learn the language. He became someone others look for direction. In BBX, he stepped into the role of main director. And if you know anything about live production, you know that that role will test you. Quality control, team dynamics, creative pressure, real-time decisions. Max carried all of it. And he carried it with growing confidence that was genuinely exciting to watch develop week by week. Then became virtual production, the most important one, IB Film HL, where the stakes got higher and the canvas got bigger. Storyboarding in Unreal Engine, building an entire world from scratch. It's not a joke. Writing at the level the IB demands, managing a film, and through it all, what distinguished Max wasn't just that he rose to the challenge, is that he brought people with him. He was a leader, and he assisted people around him as a community. That's part of the program. That's what the program promotes. He learned that the best leaders don't just solve problems, they help others solve them too. Max Nava came in not knowing where to start. He leaves as someone his team trusted, his teacher is proud of, and his future is waiting on. Congratulations, Max. We're proud of you. Come and get your hood. All right, who's next? Here you go, sir.
Buonasera. Buonasera, buonasera. Come state? State bene? Male? Così così? No? Sono Professor Pirazzini, or as my students call me, Prof. I'm not even sure if they know my last name. It's Pierazzini. I've been teaching at Bonita for 28 years. And it's flown by, flown by. Originally, I was a history teacher, even teaching Hoda. But after teaching here for 6 years, my wife and I moved abroad, and we taught in Italy at an international baccalaureate school in Genoa, Italy, and it was an amazing 2 years. And then I came back, and Mr. Vallejo took my place when I was gone. And then when I came back, I taught Italian. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to know a lot of the IB students. I know 5 of them quite well. But I have something I'd like to say to all of you, as someone who's been around the sun a few times. 29. Be exact. Yeah, I started teaching at 28. I started teaching there when I was 1, so I was young. I was young for my age. But something I'd like to share with you to think about, and it's a quote that is attributed to Mark Twain, and it goes, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts." Now, unfortunately in our country, we don't have the tradition of doing a gap year, which I think is an amazing thing to go and do. However, you can go and take a summer, a semester, or a year abroad, and it's something that I really recommend that you do. Get out of your campus, get out of your bubble, and go see the world. It will change your life. It's amazing. I studied abroad twice in Mexico, in the University of Guadalajara, where I met my wife, and also in Italy. So get out there and see the world. Even today, I had a student who graduated from Berkeley 2 weeks ago named Yareni Hernandez, and she came and spoke to my students about how she got a minor degree in Italian and how she studied twice in Italy and so forth. So there's that. Now, I have 3 students I would like to speak about tonight. The first one is Shane Christensen. Yeah, Shane. Shane, you there? You still back there, Shane? Where are you, Shane? Oh, there you are. No, you can stay there. Now, Shane has definitely brought his own unique personality and energy to our classroom over the years. No matter what was going on academically, Shane always made it a point to stop by with his girlfriend and say ciao or buongiorno to me, which was wonderful. And I'd be like, hey, Shane, turn in, He'd brighten the room with his friendliness and positivity. As graduation and deadlines approach, Shane, I also have seen him continue to work and push himself to finish strong, which takes determination and resilience. High school is a journey of growth, and sometimes the most important lessons come from learning how to keep moving forward when things are difficult. Shane, I hope you carry that perseverance with you into the next chapter of your life. I'm very proud of you for reaching this milestone and wish you success and happiness in all that comes next. Shane, come on up. Next, I would like to talk about the bravissima Nina Montiel. Nina. Now, Nina has been one of the most hardworking and diligent students I have had the pleasure of teaching. Over the past 4 years, she has consistently demonstrated an incredible commitment to learning Italian. And thank you to all for making it possible that she can take her AP exam tomorrow. I know that she wasn't able to take her AP Italian exam, but tomorrow, right? So tomorrow she's taking her. She already took her IB Italian exam, obviously. Incredible commitment to learning Italian. Her language skills have become truly impressive. She has always been a major contributor in class discussions and activities, and her interactive notebook are honestly among the best I have ever seen. Nina's attention to detail, organization, and pride in her work set a standard for others to follow. Beyond her academic success, she has been thoughtful, kind, and dependable in our classroom community. I sincerely hope that her journey with Italian continues in college, and I would not be surprised at all if she someday earns a minor degree in Italian. Complimenti, Nina. Your hard work has truly paid off. Come on up. My last student of the night is Adriana Garcia. Oh, there you are. I thought you were over there. Now, a couple years ago, Adriana chose a song for presentation called Senza Parole, which means without words. And when I think of Adriana, I am senza parole, but I'll come up with something for you. Fortunately for all of us, Adriana has never been without words when it mattered most. Over the last 4 years, she has grown into an outstanding student, a dedicated Italian club officer, and an important part of our Italian program. Adriana has always balanced a serious and focused side with a wonderful sense of humor that keeps us all smiling. Last year, Adriana and Gio and Nikki and Sydney and who else? They came with us with Mr. Bolio and I to France, Barcelona, and Italia, and they became honorary members of my family because my sons were there, and they included my sons in everything that they did, which I appreciate very much. So, thank you. Watching her experience those countries and cultures firsthand was truly special. Adriana, grazie for your work for the Italian Club, your commitment, and the many memories you have helped create over these 4 years. Congratulazioni. Come on up. One last quick thing about Adriana. She probably doesn't want me to tell everyone, but she works at one of my favorite hamburger places. She taught me about chopped chilies and getting chopped chilies on your In-N-Out burger. So thank you for that. I got it this weekend. It was awesome. So next, I would like to call up Mr. Sakovitz.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Pierazzini for getting my name right the first time. Only about 1 in 5 people, if I'm lucky, manage to do that, so thank you very much. And wow, there's a lot of people here. And most of you probably don't recognize me, and most of you probably don't recognize me because this is my first year as an IB teacher. And not only that, but the majority of the students who take my class are juniors. What that means is that most of the IB candidates that I had the honor to teach this year will not be up on this stage until next year. I did, however, get the opportunity to teach 2 IB senior diploma candidates this year, and I'd really like to take a couple of minutes to speak about them. And I'll just give up the game right here. The first person I'm going to talk about here is Sam O'Loughlin. The first, and any teacher can attest to the fact, any teacher who's here can attest to the fact that the first few days of school are an absolute blur. You're in survival mode as students are switching in, students are switching out, and you're lucky if you even know what's going on, much less, form specific memories with specific students in those first couple of days. That really wasn't the case for Sam, though. I absolutely remember the first time that I had an interaction with Sam. I remember being extremely nervous on the first day of school. My first day as an IB teacher, and I was worried about convincing students that they had made a good decision taking this class. I was worried about the fact that I wasn't Mrs. Eckstein, and that no matter how hard I tried, I wasn't going to be Mrs. Eckstein. But Sam walked in with enthusiasm. Sam walked in, just seemed to be genuinely excited to be a part of the class and seemed to have already bought in. I remember when Sam walked in and sat in the front row in the center of the class, I thought to myself, hey, maybe this year is going to be all right after all. Sam's passion was evident from day one, always asking insightful questions, always having something new to contribute. I also remember Sam walked up to me in August telling me that, hey, Mr. Sakovitz, I already have an idea for what I want my IA to be about. I'm not sure how to figure it out yet, but I've already got that idea. I felt 2 emotions there. One, pride that Sam had already given so much thought to this, but also a little bit of shame because I hadn't. This was still early August. I hadn't really started thinking about the IA yet, and I thought to myself, wow, I better get on that. I better get on that right away. So it turns out students don't just teach us things, they also remind us of things that we need to start thinking about. One thing that I really vividly remember with Sam is an assignment that we did called the Council of All Beings. It's an assignment I got from Mrs. Eckstein, where each student has to make a mask of a particular endangered or threatened species, and they have to make that mask and basically tell the story of that animal. Sam had the hawksbill turtle, hawksbill sea turtle, and they made this incredible looking mask that had lots of detail. It looked really, really cool, and then they promptly scrapped it for a mask that looked even cooler. So this is actually the second iteration of the mask. Why did they put that much effort into making another mask like that? Well, because Sam really cared about the hawksbill turtle and wanted to make sure that its story was told. Sam doesn't always do things in the conventional way, doesn't always do things in the pre-prescribed way, but they always get things done in the end, and I really think that independence is something that should be celebrated. Congratulations, Sam. You deserve all the credit that you have coming. All right, the second student that I want to talk about is Lorraine Xie. And yes. And to contrast Lorraine with her good friend Sam. Lorraine was a lot more quiet, a lot more reserved. Rather than taking the seat front center on the first day, Lorraine chose a seat towards the back. And because of that, it did take a little bit longer to get to know Lorraine, but once I did, I was extremely glad that I had. Lorraine was an excellent student when it came to science, conducted herself in labs with professionalism, had a great ability, had great ideas. All around, Lorraine was a terrific IBESS student, but what really set her apart from others is her creativity. Once again, same assignment, Council of All Beings, where everyone had to make a mask. There were a lot of students who did the bare minimum on that, where it was a piece of cardboard with a couple of holes in it and some animal patterns that I guess vaguely looked like the animal that they were supposed to be. But Lorraine made this. Lorraine made this, and for those of you who aren't in the back, this thing has shading, this thing has color detail, this thing has characteristics that I'm not qualified to talk about because I'm a science teacher and not an art teacher. But the point is, it's really, really amazing. You don't get something like this. You don't get something like this from a student that does not have passion. You simply don't. And I was completely blown away by this. I also saw her creativity when about once a week for maybe a month and a half or so, she would walk into my classroom, not during fifth period, but at some other random time, asking me, Mr. Sakovitz, do you have some sand that I can borrow? Do you have some dirt that I can borrow? Do you have some other random thing that I bet you have hiding in this rat's nest of a classroom that you have somewhere? Why? Because she needed them to do God knows what for her chemistry extended essay. I don't know what it was, but I'm sure it was extremely creative, based on just the sheer variety of things that I supplied for that extended essay. This is the same kid who, for their open-ended final project, the final project that I gave them at the end of the year, I gave my students a blank check to talk about pretty much anything related to IBESS, even anything that they could tangentially connect to IBESS. I have students doing things about influencers, about TikTokers. I have somebody who's somehow going to tie Bad Bunny into IB environmental systems and societies. But Lorraine told me, Mr. Sakovitz, I want to do a presentation about the environmental themes of The Lord of the Rings. Something that's just, first of all, one of my favorite works of fiction, but also just something just miles away from what anyone else had picked. There's a recurring theme from both of the students that I talked about today. They're not afraid to do things differently, to forge their own path, and that's something that I really, really admire about Lorraine. And congratulations, Lorraine. I'm so proud of you. You've earned this moment. All right, next up, I believe we have Miss Timmons.
Good evening. My name is Christine Timmons. I'm the IB dance teacher. And before we start, I wanted to say two things. First and foremost, I'm so proud to be a part of this IB faculty. These teachers and I have been chugging along for many decades now, and I just appreciate that, as you know, they're so passionate about their subject area, but also just inspiring people to do great things post-high school. And secondly, today I had Lyra Rhodes come and visit my class. She is at Berkeley. And I just wanted to tell the IB candidates, I specifically asked her, like, hey, what did the IB program how did it prepare you for college? And she just said she was just so much more confident in her work at Berkeley. And so even though right now you guys are finishing up your exams and it's been a rough journey, know that this hard work will make your life a little bit easier in college. So, and I wish you all the best of luck. And also to all of my IB dance students, I just want to say thanks for a great year. So the first person I'm going to talk about is Frida. One of the things I love about IB Dance is I normally get students for at least 2 years, but some of them I've had for 2, 3, and 4 years. So I've had the pleasure of teaching Frida for 2 years. Although her first year was more about her gaining confidence in her skill set, her year in IB Dance was really about her being an artist. In her choreographies, she was so intentional in connecting her work with her personal life, and I loved seeing that connection in that it pushed her to be a better artist. She has a warm smile, a calm demeanor, and is well-rounded in her interests. I know her learning experience have helped shape her and that she will continue having success in the future. Congratulations, Frida. The next student I'm going to talk about is Ileana. I've had the pleasure of teaching Ileana for 3 years, where she started in PE dance and took 2 years of IB dance. I love that her dance journey was not rushed and that she was able to soak in learning every single year. I have seen her bounce back from many obstacles and appreciate the resilience she had in ensuring that her work was always completed. I know that this resilience will take her far as she moves forward with the next part of her journey. Congratulations, Ileana. The next student is Jewel. I have had the pleasure of teaching Jewel for 3 years as well through PE dance and IB dance and the dance team. Although Jewel already had a strong technical background, she really found a way to push herself to be more diverse through many styles of dance and was inspirational to others. I love that she broke that ballet barrier and made other styles of dance look so natural. I hope that she will always push herself to get out of her comfort zone and be hungry for growth. I can't wait to see what the future holds. Congratulations, Jewel. The next dancer is Allie. I've had the pleasure of teaching Allie for 3 years, and every year has been an adventure. She is silly and goofy, and I could always depend on her to make me smile and laugh over the years. I've enjoyed watching her mature. Well, actually, I'm so very thankful that she matured. Allie also came to me with a strong dance background, and she stayed consistent throughout her IB dance work. She is hardworking, curious, reliable, and really knows how to laugh through the hard times. Congratulations, Allie. The next student is Luca. I've had the pleasure of teaching Luca for 4 years, and he's been enrolled in 6 of my dance classes. I think Luca's famous words are, "I got it," after question about many things over the years. And although sometimes I doubted if he got it or not, he seemed to find a way to pull through. He has had amazing growth as a dancer through these years where his love and passion for dance have always been evident. I loved having him on the dance team, but also enjoyed his artistic side grow so much during IB dance and being a choreographer. He would make his visions become a reality. Luca, I wish you the best in all that you do and hope that you will always find a way to get it done. Congratulations, Luca. Next up, we have the assistant director of the dance team and the grand finale. He only has 17 students to talk about, but last up we have Mr. Rivera.
Mr. Phelps, I'd like the microphone stand next year. I feel like a lounge singer like in Vegas or something. Like I should be going, hey, volare, hey. Come on, Peter City. Hey, quiet. No. My turn. That's it. Shh. Goodness gracious. Mr. Phelps, I see Dr. Salazar still here. Did you warn him about me and how I can be? Oh, my gosh. Hold on a second, folks. No jokes about alcohol. No swearing. Pickup job application at Chipotle. Folks, now that we have reached the halfway point of the night, I think some flowers are in order. To the students, thank you for giving us the best of you these past few years, or at least the best that an AI could approximate of you. To my colleagues, it's been an honor. Special kudos to our first-year IB teachers, and now you know how difficult it is to lie through your teeth to these parents. And to the parents, thank you for trusting us, a bunch of yahoos who couldn't make it in the private sector. Don't worry, most of your kids will have a bright future ahead of them, but at least one of them will now need to compete with me for a job at Chipotle. One of those bright young students is Abby Quiros. Abby, is it me? But I feel like when we first met, you had blue hair. Is that me? No? Okay, I guess it might be the alcohol. Abby is what I call an oasis in the chaos of my class. On a daily basis, there's a good amount of eye-rolling, cursing, and crying, and that's just from me. Abby, however, was a counterbalance to that, calm, smiling, bringing positive energy. I always appreciate that about you. What I didn't appreciate was your chemistry IA. My first IA where a student ran tests on homemade kimchi. To quote Han Solo, what an incredible smell you've discovered. Goes to show you, it's the quiet ones. I did generally enjoy reading that IA, smelly but very creative, and apparently it tasted good too because you literally let some of your classmates eat your experiment. Abby, take that creativity and that beautiful persona and conquer the world. Come up and receive your hood. Kenji. Besides the thick set of hair, what we are also having similar is that Kenji and I are both the younger brother. Now, I love my brother, but the reality is growing up, I was always smarter than him, stronger than him, better looking than him. I was one bad dude. So now that I'm older, I kind of wonder how he handled growing up in my shadow. Hey, Ty, how do you handle it? Sorry, you didn't think you were going to catch a straight, and I did, you, Ty. Miss Castle, I'll tell you the same thing that I told my own mom. It's okay to have favorites. Kenji, I resent you for making me an EE advisor. It's my least favorite part of being IB. But I figured, hey, Kenji's really smart. He gets A's on my test. This would be really interesting. Then you gave me your first several set of proposals, and I'm thinking, well, we're all either going to get mutated or die painfully. And clearly we survived, and you came up with a great analysis, some sort of thingy, which I really don't remember because I really didn't care. And I generally had my 8-year-old nephew graded with a purple crayon. But I do recall that it didn't smell, at least. Come up and receive your hood, Kenji. Oh my god, this next one. Peyton! Girl, you are a handful. Have you all seen Hamilton or just understand the whole I'm not throwing away my shot anthem? Well, that's Peyton. Now, I'm not talking about making her mark in chemistry or dance, which she wants to do. I'm talking about having the courage to ask me to rearrange my seating chart so that you could be next to a certain guy. Well, it worked, because lo and behold, that certain guy comes to my room delivering books, delivering food, even Sephora. I generally think you two are a beautiful couple, and you know what, if you do have kids, remember, name them after me, Mr. Rivera. I'm cool razzing Payne because I know, like me, she can totally laugh at herself, and we've known each other for quite some time. My first teaching experience with Peyton was like 2015-ish when we did Taekwondo together, and I had to help prep her for her black belt test. You impressed me then, and you impress me now. Now, I know you're just going to slate in the role of dance, but just in case, here's one last lesson from me. At your next big audition, mic drop! God, I wish I could say that was planned. So I'm not actually the last one, Mr. Phelps. Alrighty. Someone lost some pictures.
I can't trust this guy to go last. I mean, we don't know where we'd be. And the good news is it won't be 8:15, you know, but it'll be close. It's lovely to hear that we all just can't stop talking about your kids and about how wonderful all of you are. Talia, you're out there somewhere. At one point this year, I became an impromptu math teacher. I guess I'm always a math teacher, but like not for this particular class. I stepped into a vacancy at our site in the math application interpretation course. And that area of math is like not really my cup of tea, but I was determined to help those students make the best of a unique situation. And one of the classes that I was covering actually had two different levels in it. Like it was a higher level class and a standard level class in math. And that class had 7 students in it that were preparing for the higher level math exam. All 7 of those students were really engaged in the lessons that I did, but one of them really stuck out to me each time. Talia, it felt like I barely knew you before I came into that class. I mean, like we had definitely met and talked about your IB plan, but I hadn't really gotten to like know you yet. And you really surprised me with your earnest curiosity. I remember, like, even though I was only like with that group for a few months, I remember you like quietly sitting there, diligently taking notes and just processing. And then your hand would occasionally shoot up asking some deep, insightful question of what we were learning. And if there's one thing that's true about me as a teacher, it's that I like love questions. Talia, you're a thoughtful, quiet thinker. You're confident in your abilities. Remember these things as you take your next steps in life. Come on up and get your head. Once again, I'm going to skip the suspense on this one and just tell you I'm talking about Mason. Yes from up here. Fantastic. He's the kind of guy that would want you to cut straight to the chase anyway, so it's kind of fitting. So I consider myself a mathematician. I didn't get an opportunity to fail in the private sector, Mr. Rivera. It's just what I like doing. I'm as a mathematician, as such, I'm really interested in proving things. I'm interested in looking systematically at like everything that's possible, breaking those things down into cases. And some of those cases are really straightforward, and some of them are like weird kind of edge cases. And maybe that's why I like academic planning. That's why I like meeting with students and talking to them about so much. Some student schedules are really straightforward, and some of them are a little more complicated. And then there's Mason. Mason, it was always a joy talking to you about what you wanted to do and how you were going to get there, how you were going to reach those goals. And I know that the path that you're on right now feels rocky. but I have faith that you're going to find yourself just where you want to be. Mason wrote his extended essay in math about finding patterns in infinite continued fractions, which is awesome. Oh my gosh, I lost where I was. I started thinking about fractions. Despite being done closer to the last minute than either one of us wanted it to be, it was a really, really solid extended essay, and it was a pleasure to read and to grade. I wonder, Mason, whether your academic journey isn't like your math extended essay, where it starts out really, really exciting, and then it turns a bit grindy somewhere when you're working through some details, and then just when a major deadline is looming, you have this great breakthrough, and while it's an impressive breakthrough, it's just not quite what you imagined it to be. But when you concluded your extended essay interview, you noted that you wished you'd had just a little more time to really see your results through. And it's surprising how often life is like that. That with just a little extra patience, a little extra faith, everything can change. Mason, it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you these last few years. Come on up and get your hood. Tell all of the students that are really into math that anytime they do cool math in the future, they have to come tell me about it, because if I don't talk to people about weird math things, I'll lose those things. And so any of you that do weird math stuff in the future, please tell me. I love math. I'm always weird, so it's not like it's surprising. So this student has had friends texting me this evening all night asking who is going to be talking about them. And I was like, oh, it's one of the teachers. It'll be somebody. So Sophia, are you still here? Okay, Sophia's not here, so we'll just, oh wait. So I live about a half hour north of here. So I have the distinct pleasure of getting to spend about an hour in the day, hour in the car each day with my kids, Enoch and Isley. And I love getting to spend so much time with them, but sometimes I worry that too much of me and my absent-minded professor weird habits are rubbing off on them. So what does this have to do with Sophia? Sophia, as the youngest of three, I'm sure you spent a lot of your formative years being bossed around by your older brothers, both of whom were IB diploma recipients in the past. Little did we know that you would be put in the position now to be a fantastic big sister to both Enoch and Isley. I remember with such fondness the ways that you've cared for and bossed them around. Enoch, you can't just leave your trash in the office. Isley, yes, you do need to do your math homework tonight. Enoch, I know the wording of the problem isn't exactly what you like, but you've got to just get it done. Enoch, I like that you're angry in the back of the room. Good job. It means that big sister's doing her job. It's also been such a joy, Sophia, to see you grow and develop academically this year. I really, really enjoyed teaching computer science this year. I commonly feared that I wasn't doing enough for all of you, but getting to see your passion for game development, your excitement to be learning a wide range of computer science skills, except maybe not pseudocode, and eventually developing your own game reminded me that you're the kind of person who takes opportunities and just runs with them. I'm excited to hear about how you enjoy studying computer science in college. Coming up and get your hood. There's only one person left, so they know who they are. Was that clapping that we're done? Or okay, yeah. It began as many lunches in my office do. I'm sitting there working on something on my computer, and a group of students walks in. It can be hard to know if it's just one student with a question, an entourage of students offering moral support, or if they all have the same question, or if there's 5 different questions. This time they all had the same question, but there was a spokesperson, Audrey Owani. Mr. Phelps, our class advisor bailed on us, so we need somebody to be the junior class advisor. I'm sorry, we know you're really busy, and all you'd have to do is like sign forms when we have meetings, and it would just be for this year. I made the marvelous mistake of saying yes. Little did I know that Audrey would lead that task force team through an amazing junior year and then convince me, using all that speech and debate wizardry, to be the senior class advisor as well. I probably take pride in being the most antisocial senior class advisor in the school's history. Audrey, I feel like I see so much of myself in you. I see how hard you strive to organize and arrange things, not just for yourself, not just for your team, but for everybody. I see how your hard work leads you so often to that 99% victory, during which you can only ask yourself why it couldn't have been 100% or 110%. Audrey, as you go off into life, please remember to be kind to yourself. Remember that IB Caring also applies to the way that you treat yourself, and that IB Balance is achievable and not just a dream. Come on up and get your hood. Well, it's 8:10, so I'm gonna cut my closing remarks a whole lot shorter. I really thought we'd be out quick, but again, we've got a lot of things to say, and it has been an absolutely beautiful year this year. I don't know that I ever thought that I would be the senior class advisor for a class, but it has been a real pleasure with you guys. Like just getting to be with you on sort of like the IB side of the journey and on the senior class side of the journey. And so I did want to take a moment just to say thank you to all of the students for the hard work that you put in. So thank you. There are really just sort of 2 final things that I want to say tonight. By the way, when I say there's 2 final things, it usually means there's like 6, but there's 2 of them that I can think of right now. One of them is I did also want to take a moment for us to recognize and thank the staff. Our IB program cannot be that program without the staff, so thank you to all of you. And it was alluded to in a couple of the teachers' comments up here. We're also incredibly thankful for the support that all of these students got from their families. The reality is that this is not something that can be done alone. You all at home saw some of those sleepless nights. You saw some of those tears. You saw some of that hard work. And hopefully now you're seeing that pride also. You're seeing the excitement that they have at completing this. So candidates, if you'd please give a round of applause to your families as well. With that said, our evening is officially concluded. I would like to do a group photo, though. Should we? Oh, we should also thank Dr. Salazar. I'm really bad at doing these kinds of things. Please, for Dr. Salazar as well. This is his first year at the high school, and I have felt a ton of support from him around our program and on figuring out how we work through the things that we do. I would like to make sure that we get a photo of all of the students. I was hoping to do that in the quad, but I think that it's too dark at this point. There's lights, but I just don't know that that's going to work well. Ms. Timmons is nodding, is shaking her head no. So if I could have all the candidates come on up this way, I want to get you guys like here at the front of the stage. Staff, if we could move these out of the way.